You keep putting it off, that one thing, the one task you know would change everything if only you had the strength to face it. But instead, you scroll, you clean, you distract, you convince yourself it's not the right time. And deep down, a quiet panic starts to grow, because you know exactly what's happening. You're not tired, you're not confused, you're not getting ready, you're avoiding. And every moment you do, your confidence bleeds out like a slow leak. You look strong to others maybe, but you feel the fear of being average tightening around your chest. You say you want to be respected. You say you want to lead, to build something unshakable, to live a life that outlasts you. Then why does a simple hard thing still own you? You know what I'm talking about. That email you won't write, that decision you won't make, that workout you keep delaying, that conversation you avoid like it has claws. Small things, but they compound. Every time you dodge what's hard, you teach your brain to bow to ease. And before you know it, ease becomes your master. Your potential stays locked behind a door guarded by your own delay. The paradox is cruel. What you avoid doesn't stay neutral. It grows in power. While you shrink, you want peace? Do the hard thing first. You want deep confidence? Do the hard thing first. You want to stop being at war with yourself every night before bed? Do the hard thing first. You are not lost. You are not broken. But you are trained by comfort. And it's time to untrain. Because if you can't make yourself do what is difficult when no one's watching, what makes you think you'll rise when the stakes are real and public, what makes you think you'll win the real fight when the practice fight already owns you, the world won't wait. Life won't pause. And you can't keep letting your power rot in the corner while you pretend the mirror doesn't sting. So let me tell you now straight. The fastest way to rebuild self-respect is to make a promise to yourself and keep it. And the hardest part of any day is usually the thing that will make you. You know this. You've always known this. The thing that scares you is the exact doorway to who you're trying to become. What if the discomfort you run from is actually the compass? What if the fear is not a red flag, but a green light? Because here's the truth that most people never realize until it's too late. The thing you don't want to do first thing in the morning is the thing that will set you free. The hardest task is not the enemy. It's the throne. And every time you sit on it, you reclaim a piece of yourself. The only way out of the loop is through the resistance, through the friction, through the silence. This isn't just about discipline. This is about identity. You either live as the kind of person who faces the hard, or you slowly decay as the one who always runs. There is no in between. And if you keep waiting for motivation, for clarity, for energy, you'll still be waiting when you're 50. But if you take that one moment, just that first minute, and push into the fire, your whole nervous system learns something new. You are safe. You are capable. You are the kind of person who does what is hard first. You want peace? Do what is hard first. You want legacy? Do what is hard first. You want the self-respect you lost 5 years ago? Earn it. In blood. In sweat. In silence. Every morning. No applause. Just war. Silent. Personal. Sacred war. With the version of you that was built by fear. You want to feel different? You've got to act differently. You already know what you must do. But will you choose it before the pain of regret becomes permanent? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll not only understand why, but you'll know how to rewire yourself for good. The shift begins now. You were taught that ease is the reward, that if life is going well, it should feel light. But that's a lie built to sell comfort. The truth is simpler and sharper. The hard path is the cleanest one. The uncomfortable road is the fastest way to power. Not because it feels good, but because it carves away who you are not. And this is the moment where most break, because they've mistaken resistance for danger, when in fact it's the proof you're on the edge of transformation. You want to shift your life? You don't need a new year. You need a new hour. One decision. One hard thing done before everything else. That's how you begin the shift from survival to mastery. This isn't about adding more, it's about subtraction. Subtracting the hesitation, the excuses, the loops, and anchoring yourself to something deeper than mood principle. This is where history becomes a mirror. Let me show you. Picture a young man in the bitter cold of Valley Forge. His soldiers half-starved, frostbitten, dying. George Washington wasn't supposed to win. His army was fractured, his resources vanishing, and morale shattered. But he did something almost no one else would. He leaned into the hardship. He drilled his men in the snow. He built structure out of suffering. He made them do what was hard first, and from that frozen hell he forged an army that would win independence. Not because they were the strongest, but because they were the most prepared to suffer with dignity, discipline in darkness. That was the shift. Now zoom further back in time. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, philosopher king who ruled not with comfort but with clarity. He wrote Meditations not for praise but as a private journal to master himself. War outside, chaos within the empire. Betrayal, plague, grief. Yet his mind became stronger than the storm. He believed hardship was not the interruption. It was the path. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He wrote those words not from luxury but from within pressure most men would flee. He didn't avoid difficulty. He made it sacred. And go even further back, Leonidas, king of Sparta, facing annihilation at Thermopylae, vastly outnumbered by Persian armies, he chose to stand, chose death, discipline, defiance. Why? Because values matter more than comfort, because what's right is rarely easy, and because doing what is hard first is not a tactic, it is an identity, an act of devotion to something eternal. These men did not crave ease, they craved honor. They were not trying to be liked, they were trying to be useful, and when their backs were against the wall they leaned in. They faced the hard moment first, not last. They put discomfort at the front of the line, and in doing so they shifted from reactive men to unshakable leaders. That is the invitation for you now. You're not here to be liked. You're here to lead yourself. You're not here to delay your potential. You're here to shape it through fire. And the first tool is reversal. Stop asking what's easiest. Start asking what's most avoided, because that question is the key. That is the mental lever that shifts you from softness to strength. Every day begins as a question: will you lead your body or be led by it? Will you choose the sugar or the steel? The people you admire did not build themselves in ideal conditions. They forged themselves in fire. The shift begins when you stop looking for a lighter burden and instead ask for a stronger back. The mind begins to heal the moment it obeys purpose over preference. That is what Marcus did. That is what Washington did. That is what every disciplined soul before you has done. Choose hard now. Peace later. The shortcut is the sacrifice. The cheat code is the challenge. You want to stand out? Then do what others delay. You want to lead? Then train when no one's watching. You want legacy? Then suffer with intention. This is how you break the loop. You wake up and you seek the hardest task first. You face the demon at the gate. You don't delay it. You don't dress it up. You go into its mouth and rip it apart before it multiplies. And the deeper truth is this: the hardest things are usually the smallest. The call, the meeting, the email, the workout, the moment you say no to distraction. You don't need to move mountains. You need to lift the heavy rock that's been sitting by your feet for years. Do that, and you shift everything. Momentum is not a myth. It is a reward for choosing courage in small moments. This is the reframe. Hard is not the enemy. Hard is the compass. Your resistance is not a red flag. It is a spiritual flare, telling you where the treasure is buried. Go toward it. Chase it. Let the difficulty become your map. Let the pain become your portal. Because in a world obsessed with ease, your willingness to suffer with purpose will make you unstoppable. Let's make it real now. You've felt the truth in your bones, but now it's time to train it into your bloodstream. This isn't just philosophy. This is practice. Mental conditioning. Self-rewiring. And it starts with the first sacred rule: do not negotiate with hard things. The moment your alarm goes off, the voice of hesitation will arrive. It always does. You must cut it off before it speaks. Washington didn't ask his soldiers if they felt like drilling in the cold. Marcus didn't ask if he was in the mood to write or rule. Leonidas didn't consult his feelings before battle. They acted from decision, not preference. You must do the same. Thought before action is the gate where weakness enters. So build your first ritual as a fortress. Whatever the hardest task is, schedule it first. Not just in theory, on paper, in ink. This is non-negotiable. Second rule, reduce friction. Every barrier between you and the hard thing becomes an ally of resistance. If it's a workout, set your gear out the night before. If it's writing, open the document before sleep. If it's a conversation, write the first line and commit to sending it by 9 a.m. If you wake up and you still hesitate, your mission is to move, not think. Train your body to respond without permission, because once motion starts, momentum is born. Your brain doesn't need a reason, it needs a ritual. Third, build streaks. Count the days you've done what is hard first. Don't count perfection, count the pattern of rising. Start with 3, then 5, then 7. Let streaks become your chainmail, because the brain responds to identity. When you see yourself as the kind of person who always faces the fire first, it becomes harder not to. Leonidas didn't become legendary in one war. He trained in difficulty daily, knowing that one moment would define everything. Washington didn't become resilient in battle. He became it at night, intense, in silence, refusing to break. Your greatness will not be revealed when everyone is watching. It will be forged when you're alone at 6 a.m. with no applause and every cell in your body is begging you to delay. Here's where the mental shift becomes a muscle. You stop labeling hard things as pain. You start labeling them as freedom. When you say this is hard, you immediately follow with good. Then it's worth it. Repetition creates reality. Each time you lean in, you're building a neural highway for resilience. The more you run toward resistance, the more your brain starts to crave it. It's not magic, it's biology trained by repetition. You can rewire hesitation into instinct. The same way soldiers drill, the same way Aurelius trained his thinking. Every morning he began by expecting adversity and welcoming it. Fourth rule, name your demon. Give your resistance a name. Call it delay. Call it the fog. Call it comfort. Make it a character you go to war with. Because abstraction is the ally of avoidance. Specificity is the ally of victory. When you name your enemy, you make it small. Comfort is whispering to me right now, but I've already won this battle. I don't listen to ghosts. This is how you remove its power. And now the fifth rule, engrave this one in your soul. You never leave the battlefield unfinished. Once you start, you finish. Even if it's ugly, even if it's broken, even if it's half wrong, completion over perfection. Because every task you finish, no matter how poorly, teaches your brain one powerful message. I trust myself, and self-trust is the root of self-mastery. Do you think Marcus Aurelius cared if every word of his journal was perfect? No. He cared that he met his mind every morning with truth. Do you think Washington only trained his men on sunny days? No. He trained them in mud, in snow, in silence. Because results don't ask for comfort. They ask for consistency. And you right now are being invited to enter that lineage of disciplined warriors, of first thing finishers, of those who don't wait for clarity. They build it through motion. Here's the line you'll want to remember. Tattoo it in your habits. You don't become stronger by avoiding what's hard. You become invincible by doing it first. No more delay. No more hoping. No more loop. You already know your version of hard, and you know what would happen to your identity if you faced it for 7 straight days. Peace would come. Confidence would grow. The inner war would slow down because the battlefield would finally have a warrior on it. Start with one morning. Just one. Pick the hardest thing and do it first. That's it. No victory lap. No announcement. Just war. Quiet, deliberate, sacred war. The kind Marcus fought in his mind. The kind Washington fought in the snow. The kind Leonidas fought with every step into the gates of death. And the kind you will fight at dawn tomorrow. You think the problem is time? Or maybe discipline, but it's neither. The root enemy is emotional avoidance, because what you call procrastination is often just the unwillingness to feel discomfort fully. That moment before you start, the tightening in your chest, the heat in your face, the whisper that says not now, that's not laziness, that's unprocessed emotion. And until you learn to sit inside it without running, you'll be enslaved by it. Emotional mastery is not about being cold, it's about holding heat without flinching. When you learn to breathe through resistance rather than retreat from it, you become unshakable. That's not philosophy, that's biochemical rewiring. It's exactly what Marcus Aurelius practiced. Every night he would write the things that disturbed him, the betrayals, the frustrations, the pull of ego. He stared them down not to judge but to transcend. He used ink as a battlefield. He knew that emotions unchecked become tyrants, and his journal became a sword. Washington, too, was not stoic by nature. He trained his silence. He was known for violent temper as a young man. But by the time he led the Continental Army, he had mastered the art of composed power. He understood that fear spreads faster than bullets, that his calm would be his weapon. So he swallowed storms to preserve the morale of a nation. And when betrayal came, as it did often, he never retaliated with rage. He responded with clarity, because mastery is emotional control under fire. It's the ability to act rightly while burning internally. That is what separates the uncommon from the undone. Leonidas knew the final day of his life before the battle began. His scouts told him, the Persians told him, his men likely felt it in their bones. But he stood anyway. Not because he didn't feel fear, but because fear didn't command him. That is emotional mastery, feeling deeply and acting decisively. The man who can do what is hard while shaking is a warrior. The one who waits to feel ready is a ghost. Here's where your training sharpens. You don't just run toward the hard task. You watch what emotion rises, and instead of pushing it down, you welcome it. Ah, there's the fear. There's the doubt. There's the heaviness. You name it, you breathe into it, and you do not break eye contact with the thing you fear, because the first rule of emotional mastery is this: you cannot heal what you refuse to name. When you feel the hesitation, don't rush to escape. Stay, feel the heat. Let your nervous system learn that it can survive it. You are not your emotion. You are the mountain it passes through. Second rule, use the breath as a weapon. Inhale sharp, exhale longer. Make your body safe so your mind can act. Washington led men into battle breathing like a storm. Marcus would pause mid-scroll to inhale truth. Leonidas likely drew his last breath with the certainty of mission. You must train the same way. When panic rises, your breath is your blade. Grip it, wield it, master it. Third rule, ritualize your chaos. Don't suppress what you feel, structure it, journal it, walk it, speak it aloud. What Marcus did with a pen, you can do in voice or motion. But do not ignore the fire. Channel it, burn with aim. Use a 5-minute emotional unloading ritual every morning before the task. Ask, what am I afraid of today? Then answer it honestly and go do the task anyway. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but action in the face of it. Fourth, set a sacred window for reaction. Give yourself 15 minutes a day to feel all of it, the rage, the doubt, the fatigue. Let it roar. And then close the window. Discipline is not about numbing. It's about containing. You are the container, the vessel. You are not fragile. You are forged. The emotions that once drowned you can now drive you if you build the walls that hold them. Fifth and final rule of emotional mastery, turn pain into purpose. The discomfort you feel has fuel in it. Use it. You hate your past mistakes? Use that shame to build a better pattern. You fear being average? Let that fear fuel your repetitions. You crave peace? Use that longing to finish what you start. Emotions don't make you weak. They make you real. But only if you learn to ride them, not bow to them. Your emotional pain is not the signal to stop, it's the invitation to rise. That's the line. Burn it into your mind. Because the world will never stop testing you. But if you master this, if you learn to feel and still act, nothing can undo you. No insult, no failure, no betrayal. You will be like Washington in the storm, like Marcus in the fire, like Leonidas in the last stand. Not perfect, but unmoved. The morning task will still be hard. The day will still stretch you. But your emotions will become tools, not chains. And the voice inside will shift from fear to focus, from doubt to direction. That is the reward of this work. Not perfection, but power. What if this wasn't about today? What if every decision you made, the way you start your morning, the hard thing you avoid or face, was writing a chapter in the book of your life that your grandchildren would read? That's legacy. Not fame, not followers, not applause, but the quiet, consistent courage to act rightly even when no one will see it. You must lift your eyes beyond the moment, because when you do, everything changes. When the future version of you, the elder, the ancestor, looks back at this hour, will he nod in respect, or will he look away in shame? That's the lens. That's how you build legacy, by making today sacred. Leonidas knew the end was near. He didn't fight for survival. He fought to mark the world. His stand became the anthem of Western courage, not because it succeeded, but because it meant something. He knew his death would echo, and so he leaned into it with teeth clenched and sword raised. That's legacy. Choosing values over safety, choosing sacrifice over delay. Marcus Aurelius could have ruled in silence, kept his wisdom private, but he chose to write, even when no one would read it in his lifetime. He spoke to the future. He became a father to centuries of minds he would never meet. His commitment to inner work was not just for himself, it was his offering to time. You want to leave a mark? Then train not just for now, but for who you'll become in a decade. That's how you gain the respect of history. Washington could have handed off command, could have taken the easier road, could have turned from politics and lived as a noble farmer in peace. But he stayed, he shaped, he suffered, and he stepped down when he could have crowned himself king. Why? Because he understood something we forget. True power is restraint. Real legacy is earned in the decisions no one sees but everyone feels, and it begins in the mornings. In silence, with the decision to do what is hard first. When you rise and face the hard thing, you are not just sharpening yourself, you're sculpting your lineage. You're becoming the kind of ancestor your bloodline remembers with pride. You're building a blueprint for the next generation. And if you break the chain of avoidance now, you give them the gift of courage later. This is not just self-improvement, this is sacred duty. This is existential leadership, to live in a way that echoes when you are gone. And this is the final shift. You stop asking, what do I want today? And start asking, what would future me thank me for? You stop negotiating with fatigue. You stop indulging distraction, because the pull of ease fades fast, but the weight of regret carves forever. If you want peace, it won't come from doing less. It comes from doing what's right, especially when it's hard, especially when it's first. You become legendary not by being known, but by being remembered with reverence. That kind of legacy, it's written in how you suffer, how you choose, how you carry weight. The men we revere were not the most talented. They were the most devoted to discipline, to service, to endurance. And that devotion expressed in their hardest moments made them timeless. So here's your question. Will the future version of you thank the present you for your decision, or will they have to forgive you for them? Legacy is not built in years, it is built in mornings. Every sunrise is an altar. Every difficult task is an offering. Your pain is not pointless. Your discipline is not dry. It is the ink that writes your name in stone. You are not just trying to feel better. You are trying to become eternal. Stop chasing dopamine. Chase dignity. That's what they did. That's what Washington bled for. That's what Marcus wept for. That's what Leonidas died for. And it's what you're being called to live for. You won't get applause for these choices, but you'll get something far more valuable. The mirror will stop lying. The nights will grow quieter, and your future self will greet you not with shame, but with a smile. This is the moment, not later, not next week, now. You've heard the truth. You've seen the fire, but now you stand in front of the gate and you either enter it or walk away. The gate has no lock. Just one requirement: you must carry your burden willingly. No one is coming to lift it for you, and this is where 99% of people bow out, because the truth is too sharp, too surgical, too real. But you, if you're still here, you're not most people. You are the few who are tired of running, tired of negotiating with your potential, tired of letting a single hard thing dictate the whole rhythm of your day. Today, that ends. The mirror doesn't lie. And if it's been hard to look at lately, it's not because of how you look, it's because of how you've lived. You keep breaking promises to yourself. You keep giving comfort the crown. But this is the moment where you rip it back. This is the identity rupture. This is the final frame that redraws who you are. You are not weak. You are not undisciplined. You are not a chronic procrastinator. That is not your identity. That is your training. And training can be broken, rewritten, rebuilt, right now, in this breath, if you choose to. So here's the bold challenge. No soft language. No pep talk. This is the line. Tomorrow morning, wake up and do the hardest task of your day within the first 60 minutes. No delay. No scroll. No story. Just war. And do it for 7 straight days. That's it. 7 days of facing the thing you've run from. 7 mornings of cutting the chain. And if you fall, start over. From day 1. Why? Because this isn't punishment. It's principle. The world doesn't hand out greatness for effort. It gives it to those who obey reality. Leonidas didn't hesitate. Marcus didn't delay. Washington didn't blink. And neither will you. Not anymore. You've been hiding behind potential for too long. You've been loved for your charisma but haunted by your inaction. No more. It's time to become dangerous to your doubt. Unflinching in your pattern. Brutal in your follow-through. You don't need more time, you need fewer excuses. That's the line. That's the sword. Swing it daily, every morning when the fog arrives. You will meet it. Not with confusion, but with ritual. You will open your eyes and find the fire, the hardest thing. And you will walk directly into it. Because the only way to become unbreakable is to choose voluntary difficulty, to seek it before it seeks you. Comfort is seductive, but comfort kills kings. Ease breeds erosion. Delay teaches weakness. And there is a graveyard filled with talented people who never answered the call to act. Don't be one of them. Burn this into your spine. The moment you do what is hard first, you teach your body who the master is. You reclaim your own mind. And once your mind is yours again, no one can control you. Not fear, not failure, not fatigue. It will not be pretty. You will sweat, you will shake, you will fall, and you will rise anyway. Because that's what warriors do. You want to go viral? Go viral in your own bloodline? Shock your future children with the strength of your name. That begins not with grand gestures, but with quiet discipline, with sacred mornings, with the hardest thing done first, every day, without applause, without permission. Let the world keep sleeping. Let them scroll. Let them delay. But you rise. You begin. You conquer. And when doubt whispers tomorrow, remind it. I've already chosen. I don't ask for motivation. I don't wait for clarity. I act. First. Always. Forever. You've heard the words. You've seen the mirror. Now it's time to take it deeper. Below thought, beneath habit, into the marrow of who you are becoming. Because this message wasn't just for your conscious mind, it was built for your subconscious. That quiet, relentless force that decides whether you rise or retreat, long before you even open your eyes. The subconscious doesn't speak language, it speaks repetition, it speaks rhythm, it speaks ritual. And the way to rewire it is simple. Replay the truth until it becomes your identity. So hear me now, not as a voice on a screen, but as the future version of you, older, sharper, undefeated. Do what is hard first. Not because it's noble, because it's necessary. Because every time you do, a new thread is stitched into your character. You stop reacting. You stop hoping. You start leading. You start building. You become the kind of man who wakes and walks into the storm, not to suffer, but to dominate. To disarm the fear. To empty the resistance, to rise before the excuses start screaming. You want your life to change? Then stop feeding your pain with avoidance. Feed your power with action. This is how we train the subconscious, not with noise, but with clarity. One truth repeated nightly, one phrase engraved like a blade in the soul. I do what is hard first. I lead my day with discipline. I trust myself because I act before I think. I am no longer owned by comfort. I build my identity in fire. Play that back again and again. Until it's not just a line, it's the way your body moves. Until it's not just motivation, it's instinct. Your brain was designed to follow patterns, and you've followed enough that have broken you. It's time to follow one that builds you. And when the voice rises, just do it later. You're tired. There's time. You will know exactly what to do. You will smile, you will breathe, and you will move. Because you've trained for this. Because this is who you are now. You don't run from hard, you walk into it like a king returning home. Marcus would have whispered this in your ear. Washington would have nodded in silence. Leonidas would have shouted it into the bloodied air. Do what is hard first. Because that is the only way forward. That is the only door. Every other path is a loop. And you've walked in circles for long enough. Now you walk in truth. Now you rise in order. Now you reclaim your mornings, not as an obligation but as a throne. Because if you can own the first hard thing of the day, there is nothing the world can do to stop you. So here is your command. Replay this message tonight before bed. Close your eyes. Let the words rewire you. Let your subconscious drink them like water in a desert. Let your identity reshape in silence. And tomorrow morning, you won't hesitate. You'll move. You'll lead, and you'll feel something rare. Peace. Comment the line that hit you hardest. Then play this video again tonight and let it rewire your subconscious.